Wisham. Welcome to Fourth and Salt.
We back.
Man, it's been an amazing, 3 weeks?
4 now.
4 weeks?
4 weeks, yeah.
It feel like we've been here for a while now.
Yeah.
You know, we getting comfortable with what we have going on.
That's right.
Right now, we have a guest coming up.
Yeah. It's a 2019 Pro Bowl selection.
He holds the NFC Championship record.
50 yards, second most of all time playoff.
Second most of all time in playoffs. He's up there with playoff Lenny.
He's a skateboarder, surfer, dad,
Fisher.
Man, what can he do? Man, y'all help us by welcoming our guest Raheem Mostert to the show.
I like this, man. I like the setup.
Yeah,
Welcome.
man,
This is Fourth and South.
Yeah, man,
welcome.
Appreciate you,
Yeah.
bro.
How you been, man?
I've been solid.
Been good?
Complain. Yeah, it's the off season. You know, just trying to catch up on daddy duties, as you know.
Yep.
And just hang out and try to do as much as I can, business wise. Just trying to make some moves, you know, in this off the field stuff. So everything's
Yeah,
good,
love
man.
that,
I can't
man.
complain.
Love
Daddy
it.
do this. How many you have?
I got 4 right now. We just announced that we're having our 5th.
Ooh,
so.
congratulations.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man,
bro.
get off that woman, man.
It's hard to. It's hard to. You know, it's honestly, it's the best, though. You know, I got my 3 boys, and then I just had my baby girl this past July, and I feel like I'm on top of the world. You know,
That's awesome.
You know, when you have, if you have daughters, you know, it's a whole different mentality.
Yeah.
You know, with my boys, I'm like roughing them up and, you know, teaching them how to be a man and everything. But now with my daughter, it's like, hey, come here, baby girl. Like
Different type of love.
Yeah, it's different. It's different type. I mean, you love all your kids the same though.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But it's like the baby girl brings out the difference in you. So
I was the same way. My first daughter my firstborn was my girl as well, and it was the same thing. And I heard stories about it, like, man, I'm telling you, that girl gonna have your heart, and before you know it, man, I'm listening to unicorns, you know, watching unicorn stuff, listening to the pop songs, you know, purple, pink, every this, that, you know what I mean? And then my boy came in, you know, like you say, it's headlocks, football, wrestling, throwing them from the top of the bed to the floor, anything, man. That's
So,
awesome.
Us 3 being fathers, right? I know Jarvis have 2.
Mm-hmm.
You have 5. I have 5. Can you tell me? Because I know for me, I had my kids like. I needed my kids in like certain points in my life, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know my daughter, my firstborn, was to slow me down. You know, using that fast life as a young teenager, going into manhood, experiencing certain things. Can you tell me which one of your kids made a pivotal point in your life?
Truthfully, I feel like all of them have in not just in life, but like my career. I feel like, you know, my firstborn, Gunner, when I had him, I just got back from a gruesome injury. I broke my arm, but I snapped both the ulnus and radius. The ulna, what is it?
Yeah,
The
we not
radius
doctors,
and the-
brother.
I
We
don't know.
football players.
Ulna and radius. Yeah. So I ended up breaking it in 2018, and then, you know, coming back, I was just like kind of down about myself. You know, my career hasn't really taken off the way I've envisioned it. And so 2019 season, that was the year when I was with the Niners, we ended up going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I made a huge splash that year, even in the playoffs. And I felt like having my baby boy gave me that purpose, gave me that drive, you know what I mean? So that was in and itself the reason why I felt like I started my career at that moment and looking at it as a light that he brought to the world, you know. And he took his first steps at the NFC Championship Game.
Amazing.
You know,
What the
You know
hell?
what I mean? Like it was all destined. So
Yeah.
you know, just having him, and then my second son, Nico, I felt like he was the one that really made me be humble. You know, I had just a great season the year before. He came into the world, and that was also the year of COVID. So I missed like 6 months of his life, and so that's 6 months I can't take back. And I feel like that kind of, you know, put me in a perspective of family first always.
Yeah,
no matter
able to
what
go to the hospital during that
yeah,
time?
I was able to go to the hospital. I got to be there. All three of my boys were born in Cleveland, so my wife's from Cleveland. Yeah, I got the chance to be in Cleveland. We were playing the Jets and the Giants back-to-back weeks, so we had an East Coast trip when I was with the Niners, and so I was able. I talked to the GM and the owner. They flew me out on the private. Got to be there for 26 hours or whatever, and flew back out. But that really humbled me that year because I was out in Cali by myself.
Yeah,
my wife was in Cleveland with her family, and she was taking care of our oldest and our newborn. Yeah. And I was just like, I couldn't do anything.
Must have been stressful for you, trying to.
It was stressful just because I couldn't help. I couldn't I felt like I was helpless. I couldn't provide as being a man. I had to hold down the fort in regards to trying to make sure the bills are paid and get those checks and everything like that. But she had to hold the fort down with the newborn and a 1-year-old at the time. It's it was a lot of pressure for her, but we managed to do what we could, but that's still 6 months. You can't get rid of your kids. I can't take that back. No, and that's something that's going to eat me up to this day. But I also looked at it as it was a humbling experience. It taught me a lesson.
Definitely.
So
no, man, that's what's up. That's what's up. Shout out to what's that? John Lynch, right? John Lynch and the owner of San Francisco, man.
Doing it the right way.
Yeah, they definitely did. They always look out for you. So it was worth it, man.
That's awesome.
I'm happy about that.
You spoke about your son Gunner taking his first steps doing the NFC Championship.
Yeah.
You also went crazy.
Yep.
Doing the NFC Championship.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So
220 yards.
Yeah.
3 tubs.
Yeah.
Doing that game, at what point did it hit you that because I watched the game. So I watched the game and I remember every time you touched the ball, it was damn near a first down or a touchdown.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking to myself, I wanted to ask you, did you black out? Because I could see this flip get switched.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Take us back to what that felt like.
Nah, it was going into that game, man, I really wasn't even the starting running back. Tevin Coleman, shout out to T-Cole, T-Raw.
Mm-hmm.
He ended up getting hurt, had a shoulder injury, and so I was the next man up. Yeah, and so I knew the game plan, obviously, and I knew that I had to go in there, with the same attitude as every other game, just go in there and dominate as much as you can. Yeah. And, I went into that game, scored the first touchdown, and I feel like everything after that was just a hit.
That was history, yeah.
I felt like it was
blacked
just
out.
a hit. Yeah.
Sound like you blacked out.
When you get in that mode, when you get in that moment, you like, oh, I'm on my game right now. Yeah. It's time to roll. Yeah. That's how it was for me. I was like, you know what? Nah, let's keep this thing going. They keep feeding me the rock. I'm gonna do something with it. That's what I gotta do.
Man, it was exciting. It was exciting to see. I think that was also Aaron Rodgers' last game in Green Bay, and you damn near ended my man's career, low key. Aaron ain't been the same since, bro.
Yeah, me and A-Rod, we actually good buddies. He comes down here. We hang out. Me, him, Jordan Poyer. We're all good friends, and so last year. It was his birthday. We got to celebrate on the boat, and he still talks about it to this day. He's like, "Team, I can't stand you. Like you took me out of winning another Super Bowl. And so he just gives me crap all the time, and I'm like, bro, I'm sorry. Like I don't know what to tell you. You got.
So listen, I know they call me Playoff Lenny. But you should have been Playoff Heem, right? Yeah. Definitely with the numbers. You was Pro Bowl selection 2019. NFC Championship record.
Yeah.
You don't find that. That's not usual, man.
Yeah. Nah. I mean, when I was just sitting there, I was just playing a game. I wasn't really noticing about a record or anything like that until they actually brought it up at the end of the game, and then. I mean, this is playoff Lenny for sure. I'm sitting next to playoff Lenny though. That's Nah, I mean, once you get that itch, bro, it's like anything though. Anything you do is like once you get that itch or you find out what's working, you're like, oh yeah, we gotta keep it going.
So, giving the fans, the viewers, a perspective, right? You're not starting, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how do you keep dialed in, right? I've had an experience of being a number 2, and my role for that whole season was kind of, to me, wasn't my thing, right?
Yeah.
Playing behind someone, being a number 1 my entire life, backing someone up. Can you give them the week by week mindset? Is you come into the organization each and every week to practice like, damn, I'm number 2. Let me try to fix my role, fix my attitude, knowing that I'm probably better than the person in front of me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Can you try to give them that glimpse, because they don't understand? Some people wouldn't understand that.
Yeah.
In the outside of the football world, can you understand? Like, give them your mindset on that.
And that's a great question. You know, I think that, you know, when you're dealing with, and it goes with anything in life, you know, whether you are, you know, a guy that's, you know, washing dishes in a restaurant, to the guy that's managing the tables, to the guy that, you know, is owning the building of the restaurant. Everybody has to have the same mentality and the same ultimate goal, right? Is to accomplish as much as they possibly can in their specific role. And so for me, you know, I've always looked at it as, I was the guy, you know, in high school, in Pop Warner. College was, I was starting to become the guy, but, you know, there was other guys that were in that role that were the guy.
Yeah.
And so, you know, when you coming into the league, you also have to have that, I feel like you have to have that mentality of, look, even if you're not the guy, you still got to be ready, because your number can get called at any moment. And so it's up to you what you do with that moment. Are you going to either grasp that moment and take it by the tenfold, or are you going to just let that moment, you know, whisk you away, and then you ride off into the sunset and you don't get anything out of it? You know what I mean? So for me, I've always had that approach of like, okay, if people see me as the 1 or 2, I'm still me at the end of the day. So I got to produce something out when I'm out there as a 1, as a 2, as a 3, or even in that case when I was coming into that year when we went to the Super Bowl and I had that record, I was the number 4 running back.
Wow.
I was really the number. I can tell you every running back that was ahead of me that year: Tevin Coleman, Matt Breida, Jerick McKinnon, and then I was the 4th running back. So my mindset was like, I mean, I love my boys. You know, I'm a fight for them always. You know, we still talk to this day, and we share moments, and life goes on. But at the end of the day, I gotta, when my number calls, when they say number 31 is your time, it's my time. Like I'm not looking back. You know what I mean? So that's the difference between, you know, somebody that is in the shadows and they don't really see the light, but then you also have to realize, like, your light's coming, it's just in a different pathway. You know what I mean? So that's where you have to separate yourself. Yeah,
I think that's a mindset, what you just spoke about. I think that's a mindset that most players should be having, right? Like, in most times when you get drafted to the NFL, unless you're getting drafted first, maybe second round, like, you're probably not going to
start right away,
right?
Yeah.
And I think it's a lost art when guys get in positions, you know, and your story is a testament to that, and get positions where, I do feel like I can compete as a starter. I do feel like, you know, they're my boys, but I kind of should be in that rotation, right? Or I should be leading that charge. And I've seen so many players, I know from the receiver's position, I'm sure you guys have as well, right? Seen players where they get in that position and they stop working as hard. They get in that position, they stop showing up early. They get in that position, they stop learning, they stop maturing, right? They stop loving the game. And from what I hear you speak about, like, your mentality was always like, my time is coming. I don't know when, but I'm going to be ready. Is that something that was always instilled in you, or, you know, it was always instilled in you since when?
I mean, even growing up, you know, I felt like I didn't always have the upper advantage. You know, I've always had to work for everything that came my way. And that was something that, you know, I tell people all the time, like, I wasn't spoon-fed. I didn't have a silver spoon. My family, you know, didn't come from much of anything. And, you know, I was just some beachside kid, you know, that just was trying to get away from all the trouble, right? And for me, I felt like my getaway was obviously an outlet, which is football. You know, that should be everybody's getaway at some point. You should find your getaway so that way you can excel in it and thrive and really, put yourself out there. Yeah. And for me, that's what I was able to do. Early on in my life, I didn't have a father figure. I didn't, my mom wasn't really all that much of a mom. It was more so like, I just gotta figure this out. When I do become a man, and if I do, graduate, my biggest thing was graduation. I felt like if I got an education, at least that'll get me started.
A chance.
Yeah, it'll give me a chance to figure out what I want to do in life. And so that's the reason why I went to Purdue. I could have gone to Florida. I could have gone to Miami. I had offers from them, but I wanted to get away too. I wanted to step out of Florida. I felt like Florida was just not ideal for me as a young man where I wanted to be. And so going to Purdue and graduating with a business management degree gave me that extra confidence, I guess you could say, to realize, hey, look, it's not just football, it's life in general. You can thrive in whatever you want to do. You just have to put the time and the effort. And I felt like by me growing up the way I did, seeing how everything was around me, it made me all that more to get away, you know what I mean? To find an outlet or to find a purpose and just get out of the state.
And that led to that mentality of just, no matter what.
No matter what.
Next man up, starter, whatever it is, my approach is the same.
Listen, when you're in good football states, like, y'all in Louisiana, right? Y'all got some good football there.
Great football. Hold on. We don't say good. Great football
compared to what I'm used to.
Right,
it's good.
Okay.
Yeah. We had this argument last time. Finally, we got a Florida guy
Florida,
that can speak for Florida.
From the north all the way to the south. But when you're dealing with guys that are on that level of I had like my junior and senior year, we had like at least 30-something D1 guys that got offered, right? But they just didn't know what to do with it because they were just either dumb, they didn't realize what they had, or like they didn't want to work that hard. They thought it was just gonna come in their lap and
come easy.
You know what I mean? So me, I was like, you know what? I saw what they were doing. I'm like, man, I'm good. I know where I want to go.
Way.
Yeah, I'm going this way. I don't want to follow them. And so, seeing that, and then also being like, you know what? I also realized what my family's like.
Yeah.
I don't have parents like that. Yeah. Like I can't call my mom or my pops up right now and be like, hey, I just got off, 4th and South. I can't do that. Yeah. I can do that for my in-laws because they're closer to me. You know what I mean? But that's what I also realized, like a broken family. Yeah. That's something that I don't want to happen in my life. And finding my wife and having her and her having my back, I'm having her back, and that's why we have kids. And
so, us doing our research, right? There was an incident that happened when you were younger with your step-pops, right? Can you go into more depth about that? We could explain it, but you're here. Can you go into depth about that? What happened?
Yeah. My junior year in college, my little brother got shot by his dad. So it was the guy that I was calling my dad for the longest time. I was just coming back from the national championship in track, and it was Father's Day. I had called him up and I was like, hey, happy Father's Day. Wow. Just giving him those kudos and everything like that, and go out there. I damn near wasted my time just being out there on the track because I ended up placing like 8th in the 100, the 4x1. I don't even know. My team didn't even compete. It was kind of rough. But so flying back to Chicago, I'm getting a whole bunch of texts and calls. My homeboy, you'll meet one of my homeboys if you ever get a chance to meet. His name is Samson, bro. He's straight horseback riding, country folk. He totes guns, like all that stuff, right? That's what he does. That's his fish and everything. Yeah. He's calling me up like crying. I'm like, bro, why are you crying? Like I know you the manliest of men that I know, like in our age group, and you crying. What's going on? And he's like, yeah, bro, I don't know how to tell you this, but your little brother got shot. And I'm like, by who? He's like, by your dad. And I was like, oh, like that moment I was like, damn, like I couldn't believe it. You know what I mean? Like
Don't even know what to say.
I just called the guy up and told him Happy Father's Day, and now I get a call from my homeboy saying that my brother's been airlifted to the hospital. He got shot, 4 or 5 times by him. And at that moment, I was like, man, I could either leave my situation right now and go figure out what's going on back at home, or thank God I had my track coach. He literally grabbed me and was like, you ain't going nowhere. Like, you staying here with me.
And that's a good thing. I think off emotion, when a lot of us in emotional states in our life, you probably wouldn't be here.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that's your blood, that's your little brother.
Yeah.
And by me being the older brother, I understand the
protection.
The protection, also the responsibility you have towards him, right? We try to lead our younger brothers the entire way. That was the biggest thing for me. My brother was always with me. That's why I never smoked or drink.
Yeah.
Right. So how can I tell him not to smoke or drink when I'm doing it?
Right.
And I'm his role model, right?
Right.
So I'm glad your coach did that.
Yeah.
Because Raheem wouldn't be playoff Raheem without that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And that was the thing. Everybody has a turning point, right? Like,
true.
You have a turning point in your life, whether you realize it or not. And so that could have been an easy turning point where I put in so far, I got 2 years of academics left. I'm trying to be the first person to graduate in my family. I'm trying to do all this right stuff, but I could have easily got I don't know, at the time you get that Pell Grant money, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you got that Pell Grant money.
Yeah.
So you get that Pell Grant money. I got it in my account just sitting, waiting for like an emergency or something like that. Now I could have used that last little bit that I had that year.
Catch a flight home,
back to Daytona, and find out what the hell's going on in the situation back in my house. But I do thank my coach, Coach Green, man. He really changed my mindset. He was like, look, like, God-fearing man, I'm telling you right now, you ain't going nowhere. Yeah. Like, we gonna keep you on this bus, and you gonna ride to Purdue, and we gonna get it figured out. I'm gonna make sure you stay updated, whatever you need, but just know that, we gonna do this thing the right way.
Yeah, I know you mentioned that being a turning point. Did you feel like during that time, like what became the new mindset, right? Like what became the new shift? Obviously wanting to be there to support your brother, wanting to understand what's going on, right? And then Coach Green tells you it's not safe to go home.
Yeah. Nah, the point was when I got that phone call from my brother.
Yeah.
When he was laid up in the hospital bed, he called me up and he was like, "Hey, Heem, I'm good. Don't worry about me." I'm like, "Bro, you sure?" Like, he's like, "Yeah, I'm good." So when he said that, I was like, you know what? All right, well, if he see the vision too, then it's all the more reason to keep going. Right. If he say he's gonna be good, then I can't do much else.
Yeah. I guess I think too as like, I think we first generation change makers in our family, right? I think sometimes it does get lost of like the weight that comes with it, right? You mentioned the whole go and complete for the national championship. Yeah. Getting a call that same day that your brother's been shot. He's in the hospital. Leonard went through something very similar with his pops. I know myself personally, I went through things, through my high school journey that I could not be sitting here as well, right? Could you maybe talk about when you reflect now on being a first generation change maker in your family, like just the weight of every decision, every financial decision, every thought, how you raise your kids today.
It's I'm glad you brought that up about the weight, because like sometimes you don't really realize there's so much weight on your shoulders as a person, or as an older sibling, or as a man, right? So like you get that moment to, you finally can exhale. And I felt like when I graduated college, that was like my exhaling moment, because I finally accomplished something that hasn't been done in my family. Like my mom went to some community college and dropped out after the first semester, or second semester, whatever. And then the guy that I was calling my dad for the longest of time. He was just a construction worker. You know, he was good at basketball. He was known around the area to be a hell of a basketball player. And that was pretty much it. Right. You know what I mean? So just having that mindset of what I wanted to do and my vision, and once it actually happened, I think that was like the biggest weight on my shoulders that just fell completely off. Yeah. Because I was, not to say that I was content, but it was like, wow, like, you know, college is hard in itself. I didn't come from a academic background.
Right.
Like, you know,
me either.
Thank God for study hall.
Thank God for study hall.
Study hall and advisors.
I went to college for football, my brother.
Period.
Yeah. Just like I'm sure everybody else did.
Yeah, and football gives you that outlet. You know, you get a full ride scholarship, and I just so happen to be, you know, at least have a good head on my shoulders to actually accomplish what I wanted to accomplish. You know what I mean? But it's one of those things where, you know, you get in that position where you get that weight lifted off your shoulders. You're like, I can finally breathe. You know, I finally did it, but there's still more to be done. Yep. Right now, it's about the people that's around me, who's making the most impact. And sometimes, like you said, it gets lost in translation. It gets lost in the fact that nowadays, you know, we can go into this topic about the NIL stuff. I'm glad they're making money, but like, now you could go from one school to the next a year after, you know, losing a championship, or a year after it doesn't work out, enter the portal. Yep. It just doesn't give guys the opportunity now to you know, at least stay with a university that committed, you know, not just monetary, but, you know, in so many other aspects.
Yeah, I think you hit it. I think it's the commitment, right? It's the commitment to the commitment. It's, you know, if I said I'm going to Purdue, if I said I'm going to LSU,
word is
like,
everything.
Yeah, that's where I'm thugging it out at. Like that's.
I see. Look, when my coach got fired at the end of my sophomore year, so I had that one little window where I could transfer, and I know Urban Meyer. I was gonna go to Ohio State. Yeah. I was, at the time, my wife was my girlfriend, and she's from Ohio. Yep. It would have been easier for her, but she was like, man, I hate Ohio State. Like, she grew up big Ohio State hater.
My God.
Like, she's like, all my friends went there. Like, all I hear is OHIO. Like, no, I'm good. Like, I don't want nothing to do with Buckeyes. Yeah. And I looked at her. I was like, but hey, look, I got great coach Urban Meyer, like right around the corner. You know what I mean? And he's come to my high school numerous times. Right. Dallas Baker is like a good friend of mine. He was my coach, you know, when they played at Florida. And so I had a great connection. I was thinking about transferring, but like you said, that commitment, you know, I was committed to the university. We might not be much of anything in football, but at least I'm going to get a good academics.
Yeah,
like,
you stayed the course.
I stayed the course.
Yeah, you stayed the course. I think Leonard mentioned something about that in NIL. In one of our first shows, we talked a little bit about how, you know, the competition, like, isn't there, right? Like, it is one of those things where kids are now having an out based on financials, based on, I can go here and start now. I can go, and we're talking about how, like, at LSU, it was like, you had to wait in line. Like,
definitely.
You wasn't, most times not, if you were a freshman, you weren't playing unless you was, you know, number one player in the state, two-time Gatorade player. But even then, Leonard had.
I waited. I had to wait, right? You know, in the SEC, the level of play is faster. Yeah, it's something you have to get used to, especially at running back, right? We're running backs, right? We're not used to blocking Mike, Will, going to Sam, right? We used to just getting the ball in high school and just fucking running, doing our thing. Yeah. Now the whole dynamic of the game has changed. It's not about you. You know, you're in high school. The offense is just based on you. Yeah. Right? So now you got to worry about the concepts. You know, you got to know this run go with this pass go with this run. So this the whole dynamic of the offensive level has changed. And also, speaking of NIL, like I told when Jarvis was saying, they're running away from competition.
That's the biggest thing right now.
You just said, right? You have the NFC record. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
You was fourth.
I was fourth that year. Coming into that year, I was fourth. I was the fourth running back on the depth chart.
The fourth running back on the depth chart. And that goes back to what I'm saying. It made you who you are. Yeah. You went down there, grit, you grind, you bruh. Yeah. People don't understand those type of trials make you who you are. Yeah. Right? And and speaking on the trials, right? I know you play for a lot of teams in the NFL, right? Like, what helped you not walk away from the game? Because I know that was kind of stressful. It was pissing you off. Like,
Nah,
it'll be some.
pissed me
Yeah,
off.
I'm trying to tell you. Like, I know it'll be some seasons where in your mind during training camp you're doing well.
Doing well.
You know what I'm saying? They say, they oh man, we need your iPad. Tapping the shoulder. Hey, coach want to talk to you. Right. Can you go through that? Why didn't you step away through all those trials and situations you kept going through?
Yeah. The reason why I guess I didn't step away, especially early on, the first 2 years of my career, it was like, excuse my French, it was a shit show.
Yeah.
Like, it was like I was getting cut left and right. I was on 7 different teams my 2 years.
Wow. Listen, the man said 7.
7 teams my 2 years. Yeah. I just mentioned to him that I was his teammate my rookie year. He was like, "You what?"
And he didn't know.
He didn't even know.
Bro,
it was crazy.
Because it was in and out.
Hey, I'm sorry, but you know what? The NFL, and I think this kind of it doesn't get lost in translation, but maybe it does.
It does.
That it's a revolving door.
It is.
There's so many people
coaches,
come
players,
in and out. Nah,
personnel.
I ain't gonna say coaches, but player-wise.
Player mostly, yeah.
Bruh, you get a damn a new teammate every week.
Every week.
Every what? Wednesday?
Every Wednesday.
Tuesday is tryouts. Somebody trying out every Tuesday for your job, even if you're doing well.
Yeah.
And I don't think people.
Wednesday got a new iPad.
Bro,
just like that.
New iPad, new number.
New number,
new locker,
iPad,
mate.
New locker.
Who this?
Man, I'm telling you,
bro.
Who this?
Nice
That
to meet
shit
you,
crazy, bro. And you said, bro, like, see, I haven't been through that, right?
Yeah.
In my years in the NFL, but can you talk about that? Like this, you going from learning one playbook to the next, and you have to learn it in what, a week span?
Week span.
Yeah, a week.
Yeah. Nah, it was I mean, the playbooks. Me, I felt like I've always been a that type of player where I can adjust to any type of playbook, because just based on my playing skills, right, my playing assets and what I could bring. But I mean, it is tough though. But you also got to think that, when I was a rookie or my second year, like special teams was like my reason why I had to be on the team. It wasn't like, man, I didn't get my running back action until like my 4th year. Like I didn't really. I got to carry my second year.
Right.
Yeah, it was a 6-yard carry at the last game of the season against Seattle. So my average for the year is 6 yards.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
right.
So I popped off good.
Hey,
You know what I mean?
that'll get you in the hall.
That shit is good. Hold on, 6 yards. The whole
yards
year?
a pop?
Yeah,
Hell.
the whole year. Well, I got 1 rush for 6 yards. So it was a work in progress. But at the same time, it was like I gotta figure out these special teams. That's how I'm gonna make my cash. That's how I'm gonna make get on the field and make my playing time.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. When I first came to Miami, I didn't start right away.
Yeah.
I was an R5 on kickoff, kickoff returner, a gunner,
And you were a punt returner.
and a punt returner.
Yeah.
When I first entered the league, and I remember to this day, man, Coach Terrence McGahee, my special teams coach at LSU, former Giant special teams coach, telling us that if you want to make the team in NFL,
Special teams.
you have to play special teams.
Have to.
And I remember thinking, like, I'm a dog. Like, ain't no, you know what I mean? Like,
You can be a dog,
whatever.
but you're gonna be a dog on special teams.
But also, I'm like, you know what? If this is the way to make the team, and be effective and make a play, right? Then that's what I'm gonna do. And I did it through college, and I made a couple plays my freshman year.
Yeah.
And then I get to the league, and I'm thinking, like, bro, I'm a 2nd-round pick.
Yeah.
Like, ain't no way I'm about to be playing special teams.
Yeah. True.
And then Darren Rizzi.
Riz,
my guy.
Yeah,
Riz is my guy. We got
my
into
guy.
it a couple of times, but man, there's so much love there because he just wants the best out of you, right? And I remember him being like, "Hey, like, you are R5. Like, you run it out on kickoffs. I don't care when you was drafted. I don't care what position you play. Like, special teams. If you want to make this team as a rookie, this is what you got to do. So I feel you on the whole special team thing. Have you ever played special teams, Lenny?
I played in college.
No, in the NFL. Did you run down on kickoff or anything?
No.
See, that boy favorite boy.
But
he don't even know what it's like to go bust up a wedge.
I understand
Double
because obviously we had, and I try to explain to the young guys now, right? Even when I go back to talk to LSU, I'm like, listen, I want y'all to understand this. If y'all not that guy, y'all need to be working on special teams.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Because it's a very important part in the NFL.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, it is.
Shit
know,
makes and break games sometimes.
If you're not the first round top 5, top 10 pick, you're gonna be playing, right? They're choosing you to change the organization.
Yeah.
But y'all kind of had, to me, I think the second, third rounders have kind of like
There's a window.
a head step over guys that's first round. Because guess what? Now we in later our careers, we never block on no kick return or run down as no gunner. Right? Y'all did both of them, so y'all kind of have the experience. That's why some guys' careers last longer than first round picks.
100%.
Yeah, I hate to bring him up like that, but my time in Cleveland was Duke Johnson. Duke was like the perfect example.
Duke was a dog too.
He was a dog, and he'll tell you straight up, I'm not playing no special teams. Like, no, that's not what I'm doing. And he's like, I want to be a third down back. That's all he wanted to do. Like, that was it.
He had his own vision for
he had his own vision.
Y'all gonna use me this way.
Yup.
Only.
Yup. I'm gonna be a third down back. That's it.
But guess what? Certain guys, like, I played with Giovanni Bernard. He was our third guy. He was our third down guy. But he also played special teams too.
Yeah.
Right? So when you get caught up in them type of games, it's not gonna last long.
Today's show is brought to you by our presenting sponsor, Hard Rock Bet, Florida Sportsbook. The Hard Rock Bet party is on, and your name is on the guest list. Hard Rock Bet is the top-rated sportsbook app that's super easy to use for both fans and former athletes like ourselves. You've got all the betting options and features you love, like same-game parlays and live betting. One thing that sets Hard Rock Bet apart is their legendary reward drops. Just open the app every Thursday and see what you get. And sure, Hard Rock Bet is Florida's only legal sports book, but you don't have to be in Florida to join the party. Hard Rock Bet is also live in Arizona, Ohio, New Jersey, Indiana, Tennessee, Virginia, Illinois, Colorado, and Michigan, with more states on the way. So if you're visiting Florida, download Hard Rock Bet while you're here and keep the party rolling when you head back home. Right now, when you sign up, Hard Rock Bet will double your winnings on your first 10 bets. Max $50. That's right. Your winnings are double on your first 10 bets. So if you would have won $100 on Miami to win, make that $200 now. Hard Rock Bet is a major partner of what we're doing here with 4th and South. We'll be using their lines, their odds, and data, talking about the biggest stories in sports. And we'll even take part in the action ourselves. Sign up for Hard Rock Bet today and get the party started with us. I think you hit something too earlier as we were talking about this, right? And you said like you didn't get a real chance in the backfield to like your 4th year.
Yeah.
Right? I think also for younger players out there, you could speak to this as a testimony, as a testament, because most times playing special teams keeps you on the field, keeps you on the roster until your actual time comes at your position to make a difference. Yeah. And then you get paid. Yeah. Right? Like it's a whole process. It's not one of those things that like, you just get to the league. It's no bench really, no practice squad bench. You're not just on the bench like where in college you got 90 players on the roster. Yeah. There's only 56, I think, 63 slots? That's it? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And most times, 63, 60?
64.
64? They changed it with the COVID rule, right?
Yeah.
So most times, if you're not playing on special teams, you didn't make practice squad, you probably sitting on the couch. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like, even though you got drafted to play receiver for our team, like, can you talk about guys out there or younger players? There's about to be a draft here in a couple weeks. Right? About guys, maybe speak to guys that, maybe are at the end of the draft, right? You are an undrafted guy, right? And now you're going into your 11th season, 12th season, right? You play more seasons than I have played.
Yeah. My dog got that pension.
Right. No, he's fully vested, fully vested, right?
Everything else is a bonus right now.
Right. Can you speak to this next incoming generation of draft picks about how important it is to do your 1/11th and still get better in your position. Yeah. Right? but also maybe playing special teams until your time comes.
Yeah, especially for the guys that are in the later rounds. I feel like, when the first 2 rounds, there's an expectation. I mean, y'all know, right? There's like, you have an expectation to be, in the running to be
in the
either
rotation.
The starter, rotation. You damn sure are a role player.
Yeah, you
like,
getting some burn.
You getting some time.
Yeah.
But like anything after that, I feel like it could be up in the air depending on how a coach views you, depending on how you fit within the scheme.
Yep.
It's all relative in that aspect. I feel like, especially with the guys that are later on in those draft picks, and undrafted, I feel like you have a better chance to figure out what your scene's gonna be,
yep.
where you're gonna be. Like me, I came in, I knew that Philly was like a best fit for me. Because at the time it was Chip Kelly's offense.
Yeah.
Yep.
He just came from Oregon.
Spread,
no huddle.
Yeah.
Yep.
Speed, fast. You catch out I can catch out the backfield. I'm good. Like, but then I also realized who was on the roster with me. We had DeMarco Murray, Ryan Matthews, Darren Sproles. So that's three-headed monsters already. Man. Nobody's getting rid of Darren Sproles.
Right.
Darren Sproles, he could do everything.
Yes, sir.
You want to talk about special teams? Man's got probably the most, return yards, combo, rushing and receiving,
all purpose in
the NFL.
Yeah,
history.
Yeah.
Then you got Ryan Matthews, he was a dog too, and then DeMarco Murray,
a dog,
straight dog, straight dog. So I came into that situation. I'm like, hey, look, well, they knew that I had to play special teams, and sometimes it just has to work like that. You have to find the best fit for you if you are at least an undrafted guy. But when you're drafted, you really have no choice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't have a choice, but you do have a choice in how you practice, how you play,
how you prepare
to be in those roles, to be in rotation.
Yeah.
Now there's some guys that I've been on a team, with the Niners. They drafted a running back, and then next thing you know, he was second, third round. They just try to hang on to him as much as they can to show that we didn't make a mistake. But they made the mistake.
Damn.
So
that.
And it's tough too because like you don't want that to happen to a guy that you're battling against and battling with.
Yeah, and also the guy who you also build a relationship with too.
Right, exactly.
Somebody you kind of take under your wing. You're trying to help, trying to guide, to be the best he can be. But unfortunately, in some circumstances, it's hard, man.
Yeah.
It's hard when you're out there competing for a job and
you compete for a roster
spot, and you got love, and you built this type of bond and love in your room, and to see that happens, you know what I'm saying? It's like,
I mean, but think about this though. If we were all on a team, right, and we bonded with everybody on that team, you would have 90 brothers on a roster or whatever the max is, and you wouldn't want that to change because you're like, look, like. I was just with the Raiders this past year, and we had a 90-man roster. I felt like we could legit go to war.
Yeah.
Like everybody was cool. Everybody, we all hung out together. We all were playing golf. We all were, showing up to each other's events and everything like that. But when you have to dwindle that down into, 64-man roster, 53 active, 46 active, 53 on the team. It's tricky because now you're fighting not just in your position, but you're also fighting with what the coaches are, how they're feeling about
You're fighting politics,
definitely,
and everything like
that. And that's the biggest battle, the politics, right? Yeah. But I know I was on a team with guys, bro. I know that was quiet, they was chill, but to the upper guys, that's an attitude problem. He don't speak, he don't talk. So
not good for the culture.
Not good for the culture. So when I say that for the younger guys who's coming in, get to know the front office.
Yeah.
That's one of the biggest things you have to do. Get to know the front office. Get to know the people that's going to control the narrative of your career.
And it's okay too. Like, I mean, what I like to do, and I've done it for years, is like, bro, I go up and I make sure I introduce myself to everybody that's important. Like it could be the person that's cleaning up, the cafeteria.
Yep.
I want to meet them because I know that they have a purpose in the building. Like they're here for a reason. And you never know. Sometimes, those those relationships, those lasting effects can carry you a long way. Like, you know, I truly believe that you should never burn a bridge. You know, never burn. No matter how much you despise a person, no matter how much you like, if you really are not messing with that person, okay, I understand you burning that bridge and you're doing it for the betterment of, you know, your family, yourself, whatever. But most of the time, you know, everybody is intertwined somehow, some way. You just got to keep that positive attitude and not burn that bridge.
Yeah, I struggle with that a little bit about knowing the game and understanding the game, and then knowing that there's a game within the game, right?
Definitely.
And we all have played with a guy named Ndamukong Suh, who is a genius, you know, when it comes to, you know, how he's handled his business on and off the field. And I remember him telling me that when I was with the Dolphins. I remember him saying, like, there's a game within the game, Jarvis. Like, there's the game, and then there's the game within the game. And I never really understood what he meant until I got to the New Orleans Saints. And then I started realizing that, like you were talking about, the GMs want to be right about, you know, certain players, right? You know, I realized, being that I knew football, I realized, okay, normally on third down, I am the first option. Now on third down, I'm the fifth option. I'm the fourth option. And there's no explanation coming, right? And you still got to show up and go to work, right? I think for the younger guys out there, you guys both hit it about making sure you're introducing yourself to the right people.
Always.
I think the biggest thing to back that up with is just your work ethic. I think don't let what's happening in those situations, whether you're not getting the ball, you're not getting enough playing time, whatever it is, you know, be the reason that you don't show up and work hard, or be the reason where now they can control your narrative with another team or another organization, other coaches, you know, because, you know, they click tight, right? And now you have this aura on you that you got to hope somebody take a chance on, because, you know, you had a bad reputation over here, right?
And the thing is, too, is like, people in the league, they don't, like, people in the league know, but outside the league, you don't really understand it. But, like, the league talks. Like, everybody talks. Like, whether they're supposed to or not supposed to. In general, everybody, like, they talk about you. They talk for you. They talk against you. They talk good about you. Talk bad about you. Eventually, word spreads around the entire league that, oh, well, you know, Heem is this. Heem, you know, one day he was on a little power trip because he was this, that, and the other. No, I mean, I was just, you know, frustrated the fact that I didn't have it this way, you know, and sometimes that could be against you, and then they could say, well, he's a hell of a teammate. I'm damn sure going to be a hell of a teammate, because that's who I am. But, you know, when it comes down to it, like, the young guys also got to understand that everybody in the league, you know, all the teams talk to one another, you know, and they share information, and good, better, and different. But you got to be that person that they don't talk as much about. You know, just stay out of the light all the time, and do your work, and, you know, and be a good teammate and good locker room guy. That's what most teams like anyway.
And I'm glad you said about your experience with the Saints. I went through that my last year in Tampa, right? It's going back, right? Once again, Tampa didn't draft me. They brought in a young guy, Rashad White, and of course they don't want to feel I guess awkward about picking somebody that doesn't play at all, you know, because it's a bad look on the guys who's drafting people, right? And I didn't understand that until after my career, right? Just coming in and understanding that it's a business with. Got like just like you said, what Sue told you. Like I didn't understand that, right? I'm so used to being a guy my entire life from yay high to here, and it didn't quite register with me being a number two, right? I took it personal. I took it personal, which I shouldn't have, right? I should have played the game, which I've always had a problem with, right? That's kind of a stigma that was on me from Jacksonville, too. And it's for the young guys that's going to watch this, and that's probably one of my biggest regrets. Not playing a game. If I feel like if I would have played the game more, I still would have been in the lead. Obviously, you still would have been in the lead, right? But my tolerance for fakeness, I can't take it. I can't take fake shit, right? And people don't know. I told Tampa to let me go. I'm like, I see that the direction y'all guys are going. Y'all wanted Rashad to be the number one and me kind of be the number two. Mentally, I wasn't prepared for that, right? Yeah. And guys like yourself who went through similar situations. You just said you was number 4 running back, right? I know in my mind I probably wouldn't take that shit, like being number 4 from. Trust me, right? That's what I'm saying. Easy. And being from 1 wasn't easy. Like even being from 1 to 2, right? So I'm glad we are saying this now to the young guys because people told us this, told me this obviously, and at the time it wasn't registered into my brain. I didn't understand it, but now that I'm older, and now that I see, but also what I'm not gonna do, I didn't burn bridges, right? Because what if one of our sons, play in the NFL, and I don't want that shit to fall back on them. Yeah. So
he has that stigma of his daddy.
I had to leave.
They're already looking for it.
Yes, yes.
They're already looking for it.
I left on my own terms. I thanked everybody, then I just moved on. So I'm glad you said that because that was one of my biggest things was playing the game.
Yeah. And you know what? And for you to even come out and say that shows like the maturity level in regards to how you see the game now. Yeah. Right. And how you could help the next generation of guys, there's going to be some guys that's the number one, always been number one, but they ain't the number one like how Lenny was the number one. True. And so for you to come out and be like, you know what, this is what my mindset was when I was in Tampa, and then you're also coping with that too, so that shows the maturity that you have now that you learning the game within the game and how you could help other people that are going to potentially be in that role that you were once in, that you're helping them too. Yeah. So, and I see it like this, like because I never even heard a guy in your caliber, the way you've always been a number one guy. Never heard a guy come out and admit, in the simple fact that, it was hard for me. Like it was, I couldn't see number 2 like that. Yeah. You know what I mean? So like I said, that for you to say that is like, damn, that actually hit me for a minute. I was like, oh shit, like, damn, that meant a lot to you. I could tell it just that weight, like we all talked about, right? That weight that just came off your shoulders and admitting that,
And we're back. It's Final Four time with Lenny's Locks. I know the last couple of weeks, bro, you said that it hasn't been working out.
It's been rough.
But Lenny told me personally himself, this is the week.
We locking it in. And all these going to hit. They all going to hit.
All going to hit.
All going to hit. Facts.
All right. Number 2, UConn versus number 3, Illinois. Who you got?
I'm going with UConn. They upset. They beat Duke. Mm-hmm. And that's why it's March Madness. This shit is madness right now.
That's what it's about.
It's madness right now. So I'm going to go with UConn. I love the head coach, his demeanor. He is a menace. How he got in a rough face with the jacket almost falling off. And just in his, I'm like, we need that.
He wanted it as bad as the players.
That's the energy we need for March Madness.
I love it. So you taking energy. I love it. All right, number 1, Arizona versus number 1, Michigan. Who you pick?
I got to go with AZ. I have to go with Arizona. Mm-hmm. Their defense is amazing, right? Also, one of the Michigan guys made a statement that kind of got Mr. Jalen Rose's attention about, we may be the best. We may be the best Michigan team.
We're about to find out.
And that Mr. Rose said we're gonna find out.
Mm-hmm.
Win it.
Yeah.
Win it. So right now, I'm going Arizona.
I love that.
You never go against the greats. You never go against the greats, right? So AZ it is.
Yes, sir. Number 1 versus number 1. That should be a great game. Okay, so you got UConn, Arizona going to the championship. Who wins?
UConn.
UConn all the way.
UConn all the way, and let me, if I'm projecting doing the right thing, I think the UConn girls gonna win too.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Another year of history for UConn.
That'd be crazy.
That'd be amazing. Hey, Coach, if you see this, man, send Lenny a jersey, man.
Yes.
He need this. And make sure y'all lock in your picks.
Lock in your picks, and Coach, when you do send it, I want it to be number 7.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to hold it down for the hood. I'm going to hold it down for y'all.
Man, and that's Lenny's Locks, presented by Hard Rock Bets.
And, you know, we're going to turn the page. And speaking on influences, right, in your life, you said, you know, father, you know, your mother, you know, it wasn't really your parents. Mm-hmm. Who were some of Raheem's influences in his life, and why he's the reason he's the man he is today?
Yeah, great question. You know, I had my first ever football coach. He was also like the Pop Warner GM around the area and the community, right? His name was Mike Stokes. We called him Coach Pork Chop. He was like a real hillbilly, redneck guy that always came and he always chewed his dip and everything like that. But he always looked out for the kiddos. Like that was his, and so he took me under his wing. He took me, you know, and he called me his son. You know what I mean? And so he was probably the biggest influence because he instilled, you know, grit, toughness, what it takes to be a man at an early age, how to handle your business correctly, you know, do everything that you possibly can. And one of his saying was keep chopping. His nickname was Pork Chop. We called him Coach Chop. So he said keep chopping that wood. Knock that tree down.
That's an old saying.
So, he was a big influence in my life. You know, I got to just spend so much time with him. You know, he'd bring me over to his countryside house, and you know, funny, he used to call these things called swamp apes. It was like the mythical, like, you know, little swamp monster that, you know, as a little kid growing up, we stayed at the tent. You're scared as hell. But he taught us to be tough though, conquer that swamp ape, you know. So he was a big influence, and then obviously my wife. I felt like, you know, even when I tell the joke all the time, when I was riding the bench, you know, riding a pine at Purdue, when things wasn't really going the way I envisioned it, the reason why I signed up, she always had that attitude of like, you know, F it, keep going, like do your thing. Even when I got cut by Cleveland, you know, Cleveland, bro, it's like, you know, at the time it was like one of the worst teams to be a part of. I got released by Cleveland. I made the 53-man roster. And, you know, I went out that night to celebrate. I went to Hyde Park over in Crocker. Went to Hyde Park, got the fried lobster with the sweet. You
wouldn't know nothing about that.
Yeah, you don't know nothing about that. But so celebrated that night. Had a nice little steak dinner with me and my family, my in-laws and my wife. And the next day it was my wife's bridal shower. You know, I just proposed to her the year before my rookie year, and so it was the same day I got cut from the Browns.
Wow.
And so I had to call my father-in-law up and, you know, explain to him, because he was with the girls at the bridal shower. Had to call him up and be like, hey, Kev, I don't know how to tell you this, but, you know, I don't want to ruin the girls' day or nothing like that, but I just got released by the Browns.
Can you tell, because I've been released from Jacksonville, right? How hurtful that is, man. Like, it's a hurtful ass feeling, man.
It is, especially when you make the roster. Like, I made the roster. I felt like I did everything right. I felt like, you know, did everything I possibly could to earn that spot. And I messed up by celebrating. I feel like I messed up by having that dinner.
I feel that.
But it's one of those things, man. You get released and you like, really? Like, I wasn't good enough for this? Like, you know, I put in the time and the effort and the hours, dedication. You know, I spent time away from my girl, you know, like my people that I love, to go in this organization and do right by them. Like, you know.
Who was the running backs there at the time? Do you remember?
Duke Johnson, Isaiah Crowell, Glenn Winston. And we had another running back, Terrell. Yeah.
Crowell, wasn't his number 20-something?
Isaiah Crowell, he's a Georgia running back. Came from Georgia. I remember him. Initially his career started off pretty strong.
Yeah, it did.
But obviously it didn't last long. But yeah, man, it's crazy, hearing your story, doing some research about your story, like all of the highs and lows, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you sit here today, like as a calm man,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, I've always been calm, cool, calm, and collected.
Yeah.
You know, like it takes a lot for me to
I'd
get
be stressed
rowdy.
out. I ain't gonna lie.
Trust me, that night when I had that talk with my wife after her bridal shower, I looked her in the eyes. We sat on that couch at our Crocker apartment, and I asked her. I said, like, what should I do? Because I'm thinking about just hanging this shit up. Like I was really on edge because, I got cut by Eagles, Dolphins, Baltimore, Cleveland. Damn. I was like, man, it's over with. Like,
you know what's crazy? I respect you even more because, us two guys, we're blessed enough to where we have our mother, right? Your mother is that soft spot for you, right?
Yeah.
So anything I'm going through in life, right? She's one call away. Obviously, my father's one call away too, but his love is more tough. Like, man, you're gonna be all right. But your mother, she's more understanding. Yeah. She's trying to find solutions for you to calm you down, right? Like my time in Tampa, bro. I didn't start really producing how I wanted to produce in the game was when the playoffs came. Yeah. Right? And I had to call my mother 6:30 every single morning before walking into that organization in Tampa. Cause like you could just, bro, I was on the edge of erupting, like man, they playing on me in this bitch, like I ain't playing, like
no, honestly, that's how it be though.
Yeah, for sure, and I'm glad we getting to talk about this now because in the midst of our careers, you couldn't, like, it was so much, the season go on so fast, right? You don't have time to cry about certain things, to moan about certain things, but like you said about Coach Porkchop, I had my coach. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and I don't think coaches get enough, like, especially when you're younger. I don't think the younger you are, I don't think those coaches, those people that are supposed to influence you, I don't think they get enough credit, and that's why I'm happy. I stand up on the table for mine. Like, I stand up and be like, Coach Chop, he, and there's so many other ones, right? But like, that was who I idolized.
Impacted you.
Yeah, that's the one who
impacted your whole life.
It wasn't like growing up. I didn't idolize, like, I mean, obviously it was Emmitt Smith and all the the NFL greats. Like, you'll see Ricky Williams. You know what I mean? Like, those were the guys. But like, they weren't initially the ones that impacted me the most. For sure. Like, it was like my coach. My coach is the one who did that. You know what I mean? So, like I said, I'm happy he instilled all these different qualities and it helped me become a man early. You know what I mean? So that way I can make these decisions and be cool, calm, and collective the way I am during rough times. Because I look at it like this, and you can agree or you can disagree. Life is like a wave, right? Like, like how a wave is, right? Like, sometimes you get a big wave, sometimes you get a small swell.
Sometimes you get none.
Sometimes you get nothing. Sometimes the ocean is just glass. But I like to use it as because I have a surfing background too, so I like to use it as a surfing background. Sometimes you just got to ride whatever the wave comes. Sometimes that wave is big as hell. Sometimes it could be small. But if you constantly riding the wave, you in it for a ride. You know what I mean? And sometimes you can get those barrels. Now, you probably don't know what that is.
I know.
When you go inside of a barrel of a wave, when you come out of a wave, the barrel is light. Just like a tunnel. You know what I mean? So that's how I try to treat life in general. Like, I want to make sure that I'm riding whatever wave I'm on, big or small. I'm conquering it, and I'm getting through the end of the barrel. You know what I mean?
Man, I like that you said it because I use the term, like, to me, I think life is like about a game of runs, like, especially in basketball, right? You might get a turnover here and there, and you got to call a timeout. And sometimes, that run, you might go 0 for 15. And you go 0 for 15, you got to look, God, what's going on? Like, help me out. So, I like that terminology. And when you say about, we talking about, the water now. Can we talk about this fishing team you have? That I'm trying to. Can I join? Like, how much I got to put up?
How do you sign up?
I can get you in contact with our commissioner, Mark Nayfield. He's awesome. But no, they do like this this pro-am every year. It's called The Catch.
Yep.
SFC.
Yep.
Yeah, if y'all want to join, let me know. It's over in the Key West.
Yeah. That's dope.
Down there in the Keys this year.
You pulling out some big fish or
Oh
what?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
What's the vibe?
We pulling out some big fish, some sailfish, billfish.
And what's the pound? What the pounds like?
Like
So
anywhere 200 to 400
Oh, my
or plus.
What, 200, 400 pounds fish?
Listen, sound like omakase to me.
What?
Yeah.
Omakase to me. Tunas, right? That's tunas.
Tuna too, yeah.
Oh,
So listen,
Omakase.
I seen they had a clip going viral a couple months back. Y'all ain't putting no pounds in y'all fish and cheating and all that.
Nah, we ain't doing that.
What
Can't
you
do
mean?
that. So like
Hey, that shit.
he's saying
that shit is big.
So there was a guy that got caught with
He putting weights inside of the stomach.
weights. So like when you go to a competition, right? When you're doing like a fishing tournament or whatever, they weigh the fish to see like who has the biggest fish and all that stuff. Who has the most, fish that weigh the most or whatever. And there was a dude a couple years ago. I mean, it still resurfaces to this day. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And he did it in Cleveland.
Damn.
Yeah, he did it in Cleveland. He was stuffing weights and fish, so that way he could win like the prize money.
Listen, somebody got to win in Cleveland. Cleveland just trying to win. We want to win by any means necessary.
Yeah.
Any means necessary.
Can you tell Jarvis the amount of time he got in jail?
Yeah, I think he got like 10 years. Yeah,
Homie got
it's not just one time he did it though.
He went to prison for putting weight in a fish.
Yeah,
10 years for that.
You gotta think about it though. Look, see, but you're not getting the whole picture though. It's also tax evasion. It's also a whole bunch of other stuff. Like,
What you mean like winning a tournament?
yeah, when you win a tournament like that,
So it's not a 6-figure tournament. It's like $1 million tournament.
it can be. Yeah,
Damn.
yeah,
Damn.
yeah.
Well, I ain't lying. We win the millions. I might gotta throw 10 pounds in my fish.
But yeah, so I guess he's been doing it. He's done it for like some time.
Yeah.
So that's they just noticed it. And
Yeah. He owed the IRS. He got back pay.
so back pay, all that good
Crazy.
stuff.
But 10 years though,
Yeah.
I'd rather go do a real crime.
It might be like
Yeah.
5 or something like that.
Yeah.
10,
A nickel? Nah, I can't do a nickel and a dime. I'm being real.
Right. Get you a Grand Theft Auto.
That not about no fish.
Real quick.
But that's what happens though if you cheat, like because they take it serious. Like
Well,
I mean, it's like
is he banned now or something?
oh yeah, he's banned for
So
sure.
he's banned.
Yeah, he can't
For
he
life?
can't fish. Oh yeah, he can't.
I
fish.
understand
He can't
that,
fish
but going to
anymore.
jail for it is crazy.
He made a mistake though. He ain't like, come on now.
He knew what he was doing. He did it like however many times.
Well, I don't know.
You gotta look it up.
I don't know what he was doing. I don't know if he meant it or not. I wasn't there.
Yeah.
I guess he said he ain't
If you
caught
do it more
until-
than one time, you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know. Hey.
Just like if you have more than one kid, you know what you're doing.
Whoa.
I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing.
Right.
All right.
Man, speaking
Touching
of
my wife.
Yeah, speaking of like the ocean and the water, right? You mentioned that you have a surfing background.
Mm-hmm.
I think I was researching something. You were sponsored by like Billabong or
I got offered
to
by
be
Billabong.
Billabong?
Yeah, when I was 14.
You must have been the first black kid that they were trying to cross over.
Nah, actually, the Nigel Houston.
A dog. Not just a dog.
Yeah.
Nigel Houston skateboarder.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
that's crazy.
That's crazy because like I used to skateboard too, and he was like, cause he was like.
Like, hold on. You say
12,
when you say
13.
skateboarding, you mean like you was doing the tricks, or you just riding
No,
the skateboard?
the actual tricks.
So kick flip, heel flip,
Yeah,
tray
oh,
flip,
yeah,
hard
yeah,
flip.
Yes. Hard flip.
Don't. Hey, we not gonna sit up. Don't sit up and be capping.
You got a skateboard right now. I do an inward heel.
Oh, he different.
It sounds crazy. I don't even
Yeah.
know what it is.
So I'm glad we here.
You must know something about some skateboards.
Listen,
huh?
you know I used to watch Rodney Mullen. I used to watch all this as a child, right?
Who's buddy that just got out of jail? Golly.
Listen, bro, I don't know about no police. I don't know about all that.
No.
You know what I'm
This
saying?
dude that just got out of jail. He's a pro skateboarder. His name Kevin.
See, I haven't watched skateboarding in a while,
yeah.
but
Not since Tony Hawk left.
Tony Hawk.
damn, since Tony Hawk.
Yeah.
So growing up, right?
I had the
so
game
on
and
speaking on skateboarding, I know for me, like my favorite skating group was DGK, Dirty Ghetto
Yeah,
Kids.
Dirty Ghetto Kids.
Right.
Yeah.
So were you an Element guy? like
I rock with Element. Yeah.
Yeah?
I was an Element guy.
Yeah.
I like Element. Yeah. I did. I like Element. Yeah.
that's it. This Element.
Supra. I like Supra. Then they came out with the
shoes.
shoes.
Yeah, the Super shoes. Okay,
yeah.
okay.
I used to rock with the Super shoes.
Yeah.
Skateboarding.
I don't. But to me, I don't think they was real skateboarding shoes.
They weren't, but they were just cool.
It was like for fashion.
Yeah. It's like what SBs are now, right?
But SBs are real skating shoes.
Yeah,
though.
those are actually.
Yeah, but I'm saying like the transformation happened from the Supers to the SBs. Essentially, like that's kind of.
I think it was Supra, then Vans,
and
and then
then
SBs.
Yeah.
SB has always been around though. I feel like SB's been around because they were around with DCs. Yeah, DC shoes.
Yeah, DC was hot.
Yeah,
DC was a thing.
Yeah, it was. Who was DC? Rob Dyrdek?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Rob did a great. He had a great ass show.
You know where he from?
Where you from?
Ohio.
I didn't know that.
Oh, he is from Ohio.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
He's from Ohio.
So you wore DCs?
Mm-mm.
You wore DCs?
I
did.
I was wearing the G Nikes that you could see through the G Nike.
Oh yeah.
So you could see your sock through there.
Shit was sweating.
Ooh, fogging up.
The plastic was
fogging up.
That boy was rocking them spinner shoes.
Yeah, I had them all. I had to make
he had
one.
To put them heels. Put the heels.
100%. 100%.
So I know we spoke about surfing, right? I noticed you love hockey.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I got into hockey from one of my strength coaches named Ben. Pittsburgh was my team.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Can we ask who was his team and what made
Florida
you fall
Panthers,
in love?
man.
Yes, sir.
Florida Panthers, right
Back to
up
back.
the
We're
crib.
going back to back to back.
Yeah.
You too?
We ain't going back.
We ain't going?
Nah, man. We out the playoffs.
Damn.
Yeah, we had like
I
a
stopped
3%.
watching.
We had like a 3% chance
See,
like
bro,
3
you
weeks
doing
ago.
all that Jeff and you wrong.
No, but we went back to back. We don't.
Yeah,
only,
we
we won
did.
the
Yeah,
only.
we
Well,
team.
no, y'all not the Tampa
the
Bay
only
Lightning.
Yeah, they did.
I say we one of the only teams.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're one of the only teams.
I got more
Go
Florida
back to
Panther gear right now in my closet than Miami Dolphin gear.
Damn.
100%.
So,
Florida Panthers, man.
they big like that?
Oh, they.
I didn't know that.
They them.
Yeah.
They them.
What made you fall in love with hockey? See, bro, like you listen, you gotta understand. You black. You doing a lot of white.
I got introduced.
You doing a lot of white sports.
Yeah.
This is new to me.
Yeah. Nah, honestly, you know what? That's great. Because I have been. I ain't gonna lie. This year, Nah, honestly, my rookie year, I got introduced to hockey. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I went to a Florida Panther game, and I was like, damn, this is it.
Yeah.
Like, this is lit. Mm-hmm. Like, just watching it in person.
Yeah.
Bro, you got to go to you ever been to a live game? You probably have, but
I have. I went to see the Pittsburghs.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh play.
They're
Nothing
exciting,
like
bro.
Yeah.
They're exciting.
How fast they're moving. You know
on
what I'm saying?
skates, on ice.
And I really like because you can fight and not go to jail.
Yeah, right.
They
be
do
real,
go,
like-
they go to penalty box.
Yeah, but it's exciting though.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They let them, especially
They
have
let them
beef.
play.
Beef
They
for a
let them
long
play.
time. They get it out the way, get in the
Yeah.
penalty box, you come right back out.
Yeah,
100%.
So no, that's the reason why I like it. It's a different type of aggression that you get to witness, and they're doing it at a fast speed and like
Yeah.
a smaller rank,
Yeah.
like a ring.
Yeah, there's like DBs and receivers going one-on-ones all day.
Yeah.
Just doing one-on-one linebackers, running backs, just
Yeah.
doing one-on-ones.
Have you ever tried hockey? Like you ever put on skates? and
I put on
everything?
skates before. Yeah.
Is it hard? Is it difficult?
It's a little tricky if you're not doing it every day. I mean, it's just like rollerblading.
Yeah.
You did rollerblading before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of similar to rollerblading, but it's just on ice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Being that you were here in Miami, like you live here,
Mhm.
right? And then when you got a chance to play here, well, when
Yeah.
you played here, did you was that like another bonus? Like being that you live here,
Yeah.
you get to see the Dolphins, you
Yeah.
get to see the Heat, you get to go to the Panthers games.
Yeah.
Like, what was that like? I know your first 2 years here, you guys went to the playoffs,
Yeah.
back to back. Obviously, you guys.
Bro, I'll tell you what, like being down in South Florida in general, I mean,
Yeah.
you know, like that's why you didn't leave.
Yeah.
You've been here.
Still here.
Yeah.
Ain't going nowhere.
Yeah. It's nice because everything's like relatively close. Like
Yeah.
you got the beach here, you do whatever you want, but like, you know, sports wise, I think that it's like, you know, obviously teams win and lose and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's just how it goes.
Yeah.
But I mean, they have majority of the sports here. Like, you know, you got Inter Miami.
Yeah.
They got Messi.
Yeah.
You know, I've been to a Messi game and
Crazy.
that's lit.
Yeah. New stadium about to be lit.
Yeah.
You going?
Oh yeah, we
Yeah.
we
You
in there.
going?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we in there
Yeah.
for sure.
But then, I mean, and then in general, like, golfing, bro. Golfing, I like to golf too. So like,
Yeah, we talked about that. We gotta get into our golfing.
got to.
Yeah.
Got to. Yeah, so you got golf courses all around here, and it's
Yeah.
top notch. And then I think of it like this: like, it's easy for me to lead a country here.
Yep.
Like, you got the Bahamas right there.
This is the hub.
Like, bro,
This is the
I
hub.
could take a 30-minute flight to the Bahamas. They don't even serve drinks on the plane.
Yeah.
You won't even get water on
Yeah.
the plane.
You can
how
take a
fast-
boat there, too.
You could take a boat there.
I ain't taking no boat.
2 hours. I did it.
You did it?
Yeah.
You fished too?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know you did.
Yeah, I had to.
This man's a real fisherman.
Caught me a nice wahoo.
Yeah.
Nice what?
Wahoo.
Wahoo. I
And
gotta
they'll cook it for you too when you get there.
About this long. Yeah.
They'll cook it, take it out the boat, cook,
hell?
skin it, debone it. How
Come
you
on,
want
Lenny.
it?
You need to come with me, bro.
Man, we gotta
Come
get
on,
Lenny
bro.
cultured, man.
Yeah, we gotta get you.
I fish, but I don't. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I don't do it as much.
You just
as
do
I
it for
should.
fun.
New technology.
I guess I'm
nowadays.
older, so I should try
Yeah, new
like
things.
new things, like you say, golfing.
He said he older. How old
Yeah.
are you?
I'm 31.
I'm 33. How old are you?
33, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, me and him was in the same draft class,
Yeah.
Yeah.
2014.
No, I was 2015.
You was 15?
Yeah.
You was 15.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you were
so he's
14.
right after me.
Yeah.
But crazy. Thinking about your time in Miami, I want to go back to that real quick. Thinking about your time in Miami, obviously, we've
Yeah, we got on your ass. We got on your ass on the show.
I saw that.
we didn't get on this.
Yes, we did.
No,
Yes, we did.
I didn't feel like that.
I did.
Jarvis said some things.
Yeah.
Yeah,
on
no,
it.
okay, so
Yes.
let's address it. Let's address it because what I initially thought about
You gotta go back and listen to that sound bit.
Yeah.
With me and Colin.
yeah,
Because he asked me how was it, and I explained that like when you have a coach that's nonchalant about everything, it don't really seem like he wants to win. You know what I mean?
But
I did agree with your point though.
But you gotta kind of know that like he do want to win, right? Like, cause his like livelihood is on the line as well. You know what I mean? And again, we spoke about this earlier. Coach's shelf life is way longer than player shelf life for some reason, and the coach can walk off one job and go to another job like it's nothing, right? But to that, I want to ask you about how was he in San Fran, because he was just quiet, same type of coach, right?
Bro, I had 2 different mics.
Oh, you had 2 different mics.
Yeah.
Can you help us understand
So
what Mike was in San Fran and what Mike was here in Miami?
Mike in San Fran didn't have the role like he did when he was in Miami.
Of course, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he didn't get to be a play caller like that until technically his last year.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming that's because Shanahan wanted to keep him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so when he comes to Miami, now he gets that free reign to call his own shots, do his own thing, be who he wants to be. And it's a joke around the league. You got San Fran Mike, and then you got Miami Mike.
Yeah.
You know, when he shows up and he's dressed in Miami.
He Mike
style.
Lowry.
Mike Lowry.
He
yeah.
Mike Lowry.
Yeah. So that's
Yeah.
that's where that came from. You know, it was two different people, 2 different play callers, in essence.
Yeah.
But it was. I felt what you said about the culture thing.
Yeah.
Because we had leaders. We have leaders. We had
Brooks. I feel like he would be a guy that would be
Brooks
leading you guys.
had Alec in goal. More of
fullback.
the fullback. He's more of the guy that wants to show you how to be a leader.
Yep.
I'm gonna show you by my play.
Yep.
And you had me. You had Tua. Obviously, you got to be the leader.
Quarterback.
Zach Sealer. Right.
I think that's a misconception. I personally think the quarterback doesn't necessarily have to be the leader of your team to have success. I feel like, and maybe I'll say that, and then y'all can comment, and I'll tell you what I mean afterwards. But I feel like a quarterback doesn't necessarily. Yeah, he's the person that is taking the brunt of the wins and the losses, right? He's taking the good with the good of the wins and the bad of the bad. He's the person that's getting blamed the most. The ball is in his hand the most. He's the one of the biggest decision makers outside of the head coach on the team that we have, right? So a lot falls on him, right? But you look at. I've played with some guys whose personality is not leader, right? And to put that on a quarterback sometimes it's too much pressure.
But that's a job description, though.
It's not in the job description.
That comes with it, though.
It comes
starting quarterback.
I agree. Maybe it does, but I also feel like
it just depends. It depends what you're saying.
Yeah, I feel like it depends because I wouldn't say a guy like, I'm just throwing a name out there. I could be wrong about this. Justin Herbert. I wouldn't say Justin Herbert is this vocal leader. This presence that's on the team, just in the locker room, getting guys ready on some. What we know in New Orleans is Drew Brees. Like we see the pregame speeches and all this stuff, right? I think of a leader. I see leader in him, right? And Justin Herbert, and no offense to Justin Herbert, I do not see that type of energy. I'm not in their locker room either. I'm not in their practice facility, so I understand that, right? But I just think that having that other thing on your plate as a quarterback, sometime if that's not really your personality,
it's too much.
I think that stunts the growth of a lot of quarterbacks in this league when you're asking, him to step up and lead guys who, and in some cases I play with quarterbacks where, guys don't respect them enough to have to be able to be, talking or leading us. You know what I mean? Like, we ain't trying to follow you, bro. You know what I mean? So like, that's how I feel about it.
I don't know. Yeah, I what you're saying, I respect it, but also when you're putting a team together, right? Like in Tampa 2020, we had leaders everywhere, right? Some games Tom will talk, some games I'll talk, some games Mike will talk, some days Sue will talk, right? So it was just so weird because outside of leadership, like even if you had a situation you had at home, you had a guy on the team that probably went through the similar situation as you somewhere in their career. So you always had someone to talk to, always had someone to lead by example. Like for instance, Tom was a leader, right?
Of course.
He'd get on your ass on the sideline when we're not playing up the part where we should play. Or in some days when he don't feel like leading, all right, you see he's quiet, somebody else is gonna pick up the slack. Like I'm the one that picks up the slack on the offense for us when we're not playing up the part. When you feel like Tom is trying to, first of all, he's trying to put together a game plan for us.
100%.
Trying to help us win.
Which is why I think it's a misconception. Like, I feel like you're putting too much on a quarterback's plate for some of these guys. Like, I just think that it's not helping your team to try to force this guy into a leadership role when he's just trying to draw down plays up. He's just trying to make sure he can do his job.
I've been in that realm too. I had Jimmy G the year we went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
Jimmy wasn't like a rah guy. He was like, Shanahan calls a play, I get my job done. Like, and I'm gonna try my best to get it done. But then you also had guys like me, like Debo, his rookie year,
Trent.
he had to come up. No, we didn't have Trent.
You had Trent that
we
year?
had Joe. We had Joe Staley though.
Yes, sir.
We had Joe. We had Mike Person, our starting center. Like, we had all these guys that, Fred Fred was a young cat. Nick Bosa.
Yes, sir.
He was young. We had Sherm. We had Emmanuel Sanders. So we had the leaders.
Guys now.
But the thing, what I wanted to allude to was, like, when you have leaders like we did in Miami that year, we all were snapping. We also had a coach that, and even at the Niners, like Shanahan, we knew not to mess with him. Like, guys they knew they couldn't cross him over like that.
Right.
They knew they couldn't step on toes or anything like that. Like, we knew, like, that's how it was. And that was the same thing. I mean, when I was talking to Damian, same thing. And even with my running back coach this past year, D-Mac, he was at the Chiefs when they won.
Yep.
And he was like, same thing with Andy. You know what I mean? Like, those guys you just know not to cross. Those guys that you can't come out of your and act out.
Yeah. Talent don't come first.
Right. Like, I'm gonna get you up out of here.
Yeah.
And that wasn't the case in Miami. You know what I mean?
So that's crazy. So in Miami, right? In Miami, where do you think the shift happened?
Like the first 2 years, y'all went to the playoffs.
Y'all was going crazy.
Yeah, first 2 years we went to the playoffs. I think it was complacency after that. Like, I can do this.
Players or coaching? Both.
Both. Yeah, both for real.
Both, yeah.
Yeah. Because, like, I mean, I feel like those years we had the talent. We had, you know, I mean, it was just like y'all in Cleveland.
Yeah.
Y'all had the talent. The defense was stout.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like, I just felt like it was just a little bit of complacency, but then also, like, we also trying to make up for past times. Because think about this, like, we didn't go to the playoffs and win a playoff game in 20-something years.
Yeah, I was on one of those teams.
Exactly. So, you know, with the GM trying to, you know, recoup what he's done in the past and trying to figure it out because, you know, he's on his last leg.
Trying to win.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So it was like a cumulative of everything. But I feel like when you – with the head coach, I don't want. Look, I'm a 33-year-old running back who's played it. I don't need somebody MFing me and telling me what to do.
Right.
Especially a head coach, because I'm gonna probably talk to him sideways too.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, look, I'm a grown man. I pay bills just like you.
Right.
Like, I don't need you to talk to me like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I do need somebody that players can respect.
Yeah.
You know, respect go a long way. And I felt like there was a lack of respect, just because he didn't put any emphasis on trying to show respect to players, or at least try to demand respect.
Right. There's no boundaries.
Yeah, like if you got guys that, you know, cussing coaches out on the sideline, you know what I mean?
It's over with.
But not just one time. You know, like numerous times, or even put hands on a coach. Like, come on, that's different now. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I mean, it depends on who the guy is now. Like, let's be honest. If we talking about
shit ain't gonna happen with
Cheetah,
like Belichick.
We're talking about Waddle. No,
I'm saying.
You know,
okay,
but I'm saying, right? Like, I do think everybody have their shelf life or whatever it is, and it's only so much at a certain point a coach is gonna take or organization is gonna take before they're like, you know what, this guy's a problem. Like, we have to get him out of here anyway by any means necessary, right? Yeah. But also, I think that there's a time in most players' career where their ego is so centered on like their talent and what they know they bring to the team. Like you're saying, with that lack of respect or boundaries drawn, right? They cross the line more times than not, right? I could remember having Sean Jefferson. When Adam Gase came to the Dolphins, I want to say this is 2016, right? 2017, right when the year after Philbin was fired. And I remember feeling like, damn, like I'm a team guy. I'm about to step in. I'm coming into my own. I'm a Pro Bowler at this point, and I remember him coming into the receiver meeting, and at that time we had Devontae Parker, Kenny Stills, Brandon Gibson, Brian Hartline. Who else was there? Mike Wallace. I believe he had just left, actually, and we finished our receiver meeting, and before he let everybody out, he said, everybody stay, hold on 1 second. And he had my jersey in the meeting room. He pulled my jersey up and he said, he looked at me, he said, you play for this team on the front, not this name on the back. And I was like, okay. And he essentially gave me a whole spiel of that hard coaching, just chewing my ass out, that like, you know, this is about this room, this is about the team, this is not just about you. And I remember crying as a 5-year-old man, thinking to myself, and me and him had this conversation, thinking to myself, like why? Like I'm a team guy, right? I buy all my guys stuff during the off season, like you know what I mean? Like people come in, they got their little gift baskets, whatever it is. I'm buying the whole team stuff. Like, you know, ain't no sign of me has showed that like I'm this selfish player, right? And I think that we had a guy, like I said, Devontae Parker, that in a way that I've watched receivers, I'm not just alluding to Devontae, but I watch receivers or I watch players be coached by coaches that sometimes like miss the mark with their point sometimes. And it like takes their confidence away, right? And I think when I was mentioning that in response to what you said, I had that in mind as well. Like I had my little trauma in there as well.
Yeah.
And then I had the thought of like, I've watched coaches just be sticklers and just be, like you said, lay down the hammer, right? Like I watched coaches do that, and like it's ruined like players' careers because they lose their confidence. Like all of their confidence is shot. And now he go out there, he can't catch a ball. He playing on eggshells. He not playing fast, right? Because if I make a mistake, then I'm never getting in the game again. Or if I make a mistake, like he gonna curse me out in front of the whole team, right? So I guess what I was answering in response to that was just like, I feel you, and I didn't know the whole situation either, right? And I said that too. I didn't know like what actually was going on. I didn't know people were fighting coaches, cursing coaches out. You know what I mean? Like that's
and it's like, and I was trying to explain it to him like this, like, bruh, it's like a hierarchy in the football world, right? You got the owners who are like your billionaires. Like I'm a break it all down in different categories, right? You got the owners that are like the billionaires, the wealthiest of wealth, right? They run anything and everything they could do, right? They got that. Then you got the GM who is like, you know, they're multimillionaires. They're the ones that got, you know, they got a little bit more leeway and they free reign. You know, they work with the billionaires. Then you got your head coach who is more of like, he's more like your president, right? Like he's the one that makes sure the country's running right. You know, the organization, he's being seen, and you know, he's the one that's truly the face of an organization, because the billionaire don't really get seen like that. Right. He just has the title of ownership.
And the money.
The GM, and the GM is like, you know, one above the president. So then you have your classes. You have, you know, your upper class, middle class, lower class. And I look at it like, you know, you got your veterans, higher paid guys. Those are the ones that are upper class. Your middle class is like the blue collar, you know, they trying to get to the upper class. They on their contracts, you know, they really trying to work it out. And then you got your lower class, which is like, you know, practice squad,
rookies, free agents,
you know, the free agents, and they trying to figure out, they still need, you know, you got in-betweeners. But if you're the president, you got to oversee everything, but you have to delegate your governors, which is your coaches. Your coaches are your governors, like of the states, right? So the coaches have to see what's going on too. If that ain't working, and the GM and all that, how you expect the players to run, you know? And now, just like what's going on in some countries, when lower middle class, they ride against the upper class, and upper class, you know, they gel together. You got your in-betweeners that's doing riots and everything like that. Bro, it's just like the economics of everything else. And when the upper tier, the coaches and all that, when they're not hitting the right cylinders, it trickles down to everything else. You know, and then some guys, they just want to be nonchalant about stuff. We're going to be late to meetings, and we're going to do this, that, and the other. And that's how you lose. That's the reason why. I mean, like you said, you had Tom Brady. I know Tom. I was talking to him, you know, multiple times last year when he was at the Raiders. I know Tom don't play no bullshit. You know what I mean? But that's because the type of person. But then at the same time, I also had Jimmy G. Jimmy G was right underneath Tom when they won championships. So he knows what it looks like. He's not as vocal as Tom. But he could be a leader too. Same thing with Tua. Tua's a leader too. But he's a quieter leader. He's more of, I'm with the bros. Like I'm the bro leader. I'm not worried about what the coaches and them say. Like it's us. We battling on the field. We out there. You know what I mean? So
I guess like before we end, you know, and that's probably my last question for you, you know, and you see, you know, the young guys, what they go through in life, you know, depression and everything. You know, it's sad out there. And my question for you is like, you know, when was the last time you felt lost?
Last time I felt lost, man, honestly, To be honest with you, and I don't even like to say it like this, but I haven't felt lost. You know, I haven't. I mean, the only time I've felt lost is when I lose somebody that's close to you know, mental health, like Rondell Moore. Like I knew he was little bro.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? So like, just the fact that happened and I wasn't able to even extend my arm and my hand out to even have a conversation with him or even check up on him. You know, it kind of, that right there is me feeling lost. You know, just the fact that I can't help somebody that I know. Yeah. You know what I mean? So that's tough. It's definitely, and it's happening more often now than it is.
We know. Yeah.
And I wonder why. I want to know why, you know, dudes are doing, you know, harm to themselves in that regard, just because, I mean, you would have thought, you know, these guys would have been okay just by, you know, they show face.
The way they act.
The way they move around, but you don't know, and I hate that.
Yeah, I got a thought on that. I remember as my transition was kind of happening, I remember reaching out to, and I don't know if this was the case for some guys that are unfortunately not with us anymore, right? But I remember reaching out to pastors. I remember reaching out to former players, players that had similar trajectories, similar things that were happening. And I still have text messages and screenshots of how many people said, like, bro, I'm going to lock in with you. I'm going to check on you, and never did. Yeah. Like some people that, like, we know, like we personally know, you know what I mean? But, like, and they know. When they see this, they know, right? And I say that to say that there is a point throughout this journey, even for me, someone that 5-time Pro Bowler that has played the game at a high level for a long time, right? That, like, man, I had wild thoughts. And again, and on top of that, you know, you reaching out to people for help.
Yeah, looking for guidance.
Yeah, like you just reaching out, like, man, like, bro, if you come chop it up with me for a few 30 minutes, bro, if you could just get me through the day. Yeah. Bro, if you could just, you know, holler at me real quick, come see me, man. Can I come see you? Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, and
not on some funny stuff either. It's just like chill. Like,
yeah, bro,
I just
like,
want to vibe with
bro,
you.
I need, I need something.
See, and bro, and that's, I feel like, I hate to cut you off, but I feel like, you know, when something like that occurs, or like when a guy's thinking like that, like, that should be a moment for you as an eye opener. Like, you should be like, you know what? Nah, okay.
My brother need me.
My brother need me. Like, you know what? My family could wait. Like, my kids, like, you know, come on, let's go, bro. Where you want to go eat? Yeah. Like, let's chop it up. You know what I mean? And sometimes I feel like you scared though. You scared to ask for help too. And that's the big problem though. That's the big problem that's going around. Is like, guys are afraid to ask for help. So for you to, like, step up and be like, you know, I reached out to pastors, I reached out to, you know, people that I thought could be in my corner. At least that gives you some type of self-aware that, you know, that, hey, look, I did reach out to this person. I did my part. Yeah.
Even that, like, something's wrong. Like, I'm trying to figure out what's wrong, man. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I can honestly say this too, you know, just speaking on him, like, you know, I was there with him when he was going through his tough times, right? And, like, and we all go through our own battles. Everybody out in the world, you know, we figure out in our heads we're the only ones going through this situation where there's several people that's probably going through the same thing, if not worse, but they don't have options or to open up to nobody, to talk to anybody, right? Like I always told you, I was like, you know, God can turn the impossible to possible.
Yeah. Quickly.
Yeah. You know, and that's and I think that's one of the biggest things that kind of saved me. And I told you here before we got here, I'm like, man, listen, you have a brother in me. Like, I'm the type of person, I might have shit going on, but they could tell you this. Any guy that's not playing that I know, like, you know, like Ezekiel, like even when OBJ was going through him, bro, I wrote them as many times as I can. It don't matter. Yeah. You know, I wrote them each and every time their name came across my Instagram, or if I had their number, I text them. I might be blowing you up, and you know, you might be going through a situation where you aggravated, but I want you to know, like, I care. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I care because I went through the same situation where nobody was hitting me up. Yeah. Right? And I knew how I felt. Yeah. Obviously. So
You feel empty at that moment.
Empty. So you know what? You know what?
Empty.
Let me go help my brothers out and see what they need.
Yeah.
While I'm fighting my own battle, let me make sure they have somebody to help them with their battle.
Yeah.
Right. And that's just not for football players. For everybody out there in the world who's gone through something that, you know, I just said God can make the impossible possible. So you're not going through it alone, whether you think it or not. Sometimes you got to know when to get on your knees and pray.
Yeah.
You know, like that's one of the biggest things. I've always believed in God, but like when I was going through it, constantly leaning on to my own understanding, not God's.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, listen, it just, you know what, God, I'm surrendering all my problems. The not sleeping at night, you know, I'm leaving it in your hands and not my own. And that's when I kind of had to understand, like, all right, Leonard, like, it's not your battle. It is not your battle. How hard we think it is, we just on our own. It's not. No. So
you're never on your own.
Nah, for sure.
That's what people gotta realize. Like you never really on your own. And you got so much purpose. Yeah. Like God put us all here for a reason, to have purpose. Yeah. What's your purpose? It's not to give up.
And guess and it's not.
Like
the reality is, it's not football.
Yeah, and it's not football.
This is just a stepping stone to where
it's a building block. Yep, that's what it is.
Where you want to be in life, and your purpose is, right. You know, I've always told Jarvis, like, the reason why I wanted to do this podcast to get God's word out there more. Yeah. And when you said the problem is, that's where a lot of young guys are missing. Yeah. You know, to like, bro, sometimes you got to take time out your day, 30 minutes, read your Bible, man. Every situation you're dealing with in life, it has it in the Bible. I didn't know that until I had to go through what I went through in life. You know what I'm saying? Like, you look
I even say, like, just take, 10, 15 minutes just to breathe.
Yeah, disconnect.
Yeah, just close your eyes and breathe. That goes a long way. Like me, I do the Bible. I read. I try to find the scripture or whatever that's tailored to what I'm going through. Yeah. But then also, I like to go to the ocean. Yep. That's like my little mechanism. That's how I can cope with like anything that's stressful. If I just close my eyes and hear the sound of a wave, that's how I know that's all I need. Yeah.
Reset.
I might gotta try that.
Try it.
Yeah.
I
do that too.
Matter of fact, go next time.
Sir.
Next time, it'll be even better. Do it when it's like a sunset. Hear the waves. Close your eyes. Try to even find a hammock, bro.
Yeah, fall asleep.
You'll be shocked.
By the water?
Oh, fall asleep. Not in the water. By the
water. He said by the water?
By the water. Not in the water. By the water.
Not in the water. But yeah, find a hammock or something that's relaxing. Get on the beach, sunset, close your eyes, and just block out everything. You'll block everything out besides that ocean. Absolutely. That ocean, you'll hear the waves crashing on that shoreline. You'll be like,
y'all hear that at home, huh?
I know what he talking about.
If you have an ocean by you, if you don't have an ocean, find a pond. You don't have a pond, find a lake. Just throw a rock and figure it out. But nah, bro, we fought this out, bro. We appreciate you.
Yeah, I appreciate
taking the time out.
It was an honor.
Out your day.
Absolutely. If y'all want me back, Nate, let me know. I'm up the road.
Yes, for sure.
Jarvis knows we we finna link up.
It's an honor. Yeah, we're gonna get
fishing mode, baby. We're gonna fishing mode. But now we appreciate you, bro.
Yeah, I appreciate
Thank you, man. On your journey now, I don't know if you trying to get back in the league or not, or the league or not.
I am. I'm trying one more year. We'll see.
Wish you luck on that. But if you don't,
I'm gonna call y'all because I don't
join us, baby. We here.
I don't want to get in that state what y'all talking about. Man, so I know y'all suited, so y'all right for it. I appreciate y'all having me.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate it. One Take Lenny changed his name. One Take Lenny.
You hear me? Easy.